Hey, this is Brian with worshiptutorials.com. I did not shoot a Sunday vlog this week, but I wanted to upload something sort of in its place. I want to talk very briefly about an idea of leadership and influence and building people up that are on your team. This is just a tiny little fragment of an idea that comes from a much larger project that Fuller and I have been working on for a long time that will be available soon. We're extremely excited about it. It is going to help equip you as worship team members, worship leaders, to lead to the best of your ability. One way to define leadership is with the word influence. If you have influence over people, they will follow you. If people are following you, you're a leader, whether it's in your title or not. And actually, if you're a worship leader at your church, you have built-in influence in your title because you're the guy or the girl in charge. One way to increase your level of leadership, we call it the leadership lid at our church. That's just your capacity for leadership. One way to push that up a little bit and to build people up around you is to identify, call them pillars of your worship team. Identify people who have a great deal of influence on your worship team and pour into them. If you think about the life of Jesus, he did this. He had 12 disciples, but among those 12 disciples, he had his inner three that he poured into the most. He spent the most time with them. So if you don't already do this on your team, whether your team is, you might be in a church of 50 or 100 people, and maybe your team is 5 people. You might be in a mega church and you might have 150 or 200 people that serve on your team. It really doesn't matter what size it is. This is applicable to any size team anywhere. Write down 3 people's names right now who you know have influence on your team. When they do something, when they speak, people listen. When they do things, people model them and pour into them. Start sharing vision with them. Schedule time to go get lunch or coffee together. Talk to them about where you want your worship ministry to be in 2 years and 5 years. We do this on our team. We have people who we feel like are pillars of our worship team that we can count on them when we need something or when we want to do something. If they're on board, everyone's going to be on board because they're on board. This has to do with relational equity as well. This is like building relational equity, which is another topic for another time. But if you do this, not only will you increase their level of leadership as volunteers on your team, you'll increase their level of influence. You'll increase your level of influence as well because your staff will notice this. Your staff will notice maybe your people in leadership over you, whether it's a pastor or a team of leaders in your church. They'll notice, hey, this person is developing leaders underneath him, and those people have influence and they're able to do things, and people are on board and excited about vision because there's more of this team effort going on, and you have a group of people that are with you because you will have developed them, you will have poured into them. Now, this isn't just so that you can use them to advance your agenda. I think sometimes we fall into this trap of we view people for what they can do for us rather than who they are as people. Ministry is about people, whether you're a worship leader, a pastor, youth pastor, whatever. Ministry is about people, and it's about caring for and developing people. And if you do this, and if you do it right, you will care for and develop people on your worship team, and they will help you advance the vision that God has given you as a worship leader. I hope your Sunday worship services were awesome this past weekend, and they will be again next weekend. Never forget and be encouraged that God chooses to use us to do this work. God chooses to use us, fallen people. We fall short every single day, but God redeems us. He chooses us. He calls us to lead people into worship, where there's healing, where there's restoration, where there's freedom from sin, where there is salvation. In the name of Jesus, we get to be a part of that. Never forget how awesome that privilege is. See you next time. Bye.